beautiful souls. Welcome to this Virgo new moon reading. If you've already watched my Virgo season reading, I did do, within those readings, there is an element of touching into the new and full moon of Virgo season. And those were based off of your own sun or rising signs. But I wanted to also do a new moon reading that's a little bit more intuitive, where I'm not assigning you piles based on your signs. Sometimes there's things that we, themes around an astrological occurrence or a cosmic occurrence that we tap into based off of different metrics, say like how self-aware we are or mature we are or some other unknown thing. So I do also just want to touch into the new moon more intuitively, allowing you guys to pick your own piles. And the intention of this new moon reading is I see new moons as a time of intention setting, but those intentions are usually quite private. It's like planting a seed deep within you, and it takes 3 or 4 months for that seed to kind of break through and for you to have evidence of where that's going and what that means in actuality in real life. So it's something that you track for a whole year. So kind of wanting to see the energy around what's seeding in you at this new moon, and so what to expect over the course of the next year around Virgo themes in your life. You could even watch every time the moon moves through Virgo how something being seeded right now might be progressing in life. So the day this comes out is the day of the new moon. You may be coming to this later, and that's totally fine. These new moon seeds last for a whole year, so you could just pick up on where the next Virgo new moon is. You could even come to this at a totally different year, and maybe that's the right time to be getting this Virgo energy. What's coming of your Virgo energy over this, between when you see this and the next Virgo season, which is end of August through end of September, or about August 22nd through around September 21st. Okay, so let's pick 3 piles for you guys to tap into. Feeling this one, we've got the empty room, interesting. The offering. And Thanatos. Very, very interesting. And I kind of wanted to see what cards came out first before I mentioned another sort of reason why I wanted to do more intuitive reads on this. Is there are some energies entangled in the 2024 Virgo new moon. And again, don't worry if you come in a different year. It is, you're meant to see it when you see it. But the ruler of this new moon is sitting behind the sun, where some mystical things are going on. And there's this opposition to Saturn, which is in Pisces, bringing up some sort of, mystical, and that Pisces energy is sitting right behind the North Node where things are ending. So there is a lot of mysticism around kind of how we're focusing and mastering in life right now. So there's some interesting, very spiritual entanglements with this new moon, and I was kind of curious if those would come up in a more intuitive type of read and how they would come up. And definitely the 3 piles we got all really tap into that. So that's really fascinating. If you feel drawn to more than one pile, that's totally fine as well. But for now, these are the 3 piles. Pile 1, the empty room. Pile 2, the offering. Pile 3, Thanatos, which is like associated with like themes of metaphorical deaths kind of element, transformation, that kind of stuff. Okay, so feel free to pause here if you need some time to tune into these piles, whether it's the pile number, the images, what the symbolism is, whatever it is that draws you in, or just a feeling, a magnetic draw towards something. When you are ready, timestamps will be in the descriptions and you can jump straight to your piles. So I will see you in your readings. Hello, pile number 1. Welcome to your Virgo new moon reading. We're tapping into what your new moon seeds are sort of resonating with, bringing more consciousness to, like intentions and seeds that might be planting in you around Virgo energy. So interesting that you guys got the empty room, because I'm like 90%, there's like a little bit of me that was like, maybe this was a different reading, but I'm like 90% sure that in my Virgo season reading, one of the piles had a new moon with the empty room in that reading, and then this comes up again. So I would be interested to hear in the comments if someone did already get empty room for new moon in their Virgo season reading. That said, I can't remember what I said about that, and it may have been, there's a chance it was a different reading, but either way, I do know this came up in the last week or so in a reading. I don't remember what was said about it, but what is coming up now, for whatever reason, when I look at this card, I feel refreshed, like it was ready, like you're ready for... like you've been waiting for a slate to be cleared and you finally have that. Almost like an artist that has had some major inspiration, but they haven't had the time to pull out a fresh canvas, or the energy, or whatever it is, like, something's prevented this artist from pulling out a blank canvas to attend to an inspiration that's come, right? And I feel that metaphor in some way connecting to your reading. Like finally I have this, an opening to create with inspiration I'm feeling. Like finally I have the space, the opening, the certain things off of my plate, a literal new beginning in some way. Maybe you've been doing a lot of shadow work or spring cleaning in late summer. Maybe there's been some endings, but whatever it is, it feels positive. Like I'm finally dealt with that clutter, or these things that were on my plate, or these things that just were straggling, and I finally have created the space or the time or both to bring my imagination to life, to bring focus to inspiration I've had and take action around that, or put more intention around this inspiration of what does it mean? What do I want to do with it? That's kind of the stuff that's coming through with the empty room. So over, if you're coming to this right at the Virgo new moon, it's sort of like, there may be a few months of still some dreaming and some more internal and observational work. If you're coming to this later, maybe this is picking up on with things already in motion around what comes out here. But yeah, I just feel you ready to paint, ready to, as a metaphor, right? Ready to refresh something about your life, add totally new color, totally new elements, totally new energy to an aspect of your life. Okay, so let's get some tarot cards to Get a little deeper here. Feeling this top one. So we've got Page of Swords. Yeah. Fresh ideas for sure. Fresh new ideas. Fresh connections. Feeling connected to how life is moving, how life is colored, how you think about life, how you connect to your own mind in just like really new ways. Like things are literally like, you know, how this person's head is a flower that's blossomed. It's like your whole mentality, your whole sense of pollinating life, the kinds of ideas you're coming up with, how you're connecting with others in your life. It's like things are blossoming, you know, the energy wants to blossom around this for you guys. And then there's also a full moon. There's like a bright sun and a full moon in this card. So it feels very imaginative, but also very vital at the same time with both that solar and powerful lunar energy. It's like things are romantic and soulful, but also creative and colorful at the same time. And your mind is like really coming alive over the course of your Virgo threads of life in the coming between when you see this and the next Virgo full new moon, the next Virgo season, right? Nine of Cups. Ooh, that can be a wish fulfillment card, but in this card there's this like mirror, and it's interesting because this mirror is like reflecting things that in the background you wouldn't expect it to be, you know, like it's nighttime in the background, right? And so you wouldn't expect this mirror to be reflecting a bright sunny day with clouds. So it's sort of like what is this energy? Like there's yeah, it's like your visions are incubating, right? Because in that night energy, it's when we sort of incubate new things. And I feel you having a vision of how you want your world reflected to you from the outside. So this is about like external world. How you want, like there's vision incubating about how you want your external world to be reflected. How you want yourself to be reflected in your external world, and how you want your external world to reflect. What kind of reflection you want to see in your external world. And so it's incubating, but there's something just like really beautiful, really easy, really color, you know, that colorful, with the rainbow coming up here again, tying back to this Page of Swords energy, in that feeling of something very alive and colorful and filled with possibility, filled with spectrum of possibility. So yeah, with that wish fulfillment, ultimately what this is feeling like is this feeling of possibility of what you can, you know, what's becoming possible to create externally in your life. Okay. And being able to see your full spectrum of self more reflected in that possibility you're feeling, that fresh slate, that fresh possibility that's incubating. The Fool, yeah, totally. This empty room in the Fool, that totally confirms that feeling that I was like, this feels positive. It feels like it's a relief. It would be a relief for you to see the empty room, right? And so the Fool coming up is saying that's because you're feeling that impulse to take a leap into something fresh, something new. And it is, there's a very youthful energy here, but with the Nine of Cups showing up, it's showing that it's not just impetuous and immature. I actually think there's a lot of depth you've gained that you're putting into these new feelings and sensations, you have like long-term vision here. You have, again, you know, vision came up with that Nine of Cups card with the mirror reflection here. You have a vision. You're not just sort of taking a leap without really knowing where you're going. I think, you know, like there's some goals coming up. There's something you have your eye on, and you're just ready to take the leap in a new way to kind of put that into motion. Okay, so I also, if it resonates for you, this may, for some of you, have to do with like a remodel of your house, like getting very literal with the room, moving to a new home, remodeling a home, building a new home, something like that, could actually be that thing for some of you. And, you know, that mirror is like, you know, you have to draw up the blueprints, and you do have to have a vision for where you want to move or what you want to build or what the remodel's about. It's not just tearing everything out of your house without really knowing what you're putting back in. I think there's been a vision that's been incubating, and now it's time to like, yeah, make the rooms you live in, give them a makeover, right? So that could be more of a metaphor if it doesn't connect to you, like I'm living where I want to live, or I can't foresee that I'm not in a position to move or remodel, right? That might be more of a metaphor for some of you, but I do think a lot of you, there's something about home here. 10 of Swords. Yeah, totally. You have hit a wall with something. The difference between this person like boxed in, right? And then the person leaping. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Yeah, it's like, literally this person will have that, like, I just sneeze, like I can feel that 10 of Swords person just feeling tightly wound, having hit a wall. They're boxed into their own kind of world they've created for themselves that's maybe even a little isolated or something. And it's like this great sneeze comes and just breaks you free, like you're just ready to totally change something. So a big year in terms of these Virgo new moon seeds for you, a big change coming, really breaking free of something where you feel like you have hit a low point, where you've hit that wall, been totally boxed in, come to some kind of low point, especially mentally. Yeah, there's something that is like the sneeze that I didn't expect. It's like something unexpected just shakes everything up and apart and allows you to envision this empty room and see potential and take some risks and leaps towards something that you have a vision for or find a vision for. Yeah, really beautiful. Okay, so to end this, let's get you guys a healing water oracle card as just like a nice parting message. The Pearl Alchemy. The reward at the end, from grit to grace. Yes, this is breaking out of some kind of something you feel hemmed in by, something you feel restricted by, something that your mind has hit its limits with. And but something that has, you know, because going through challenges or things that are difficult, that does give us grit. It gives us some character. And it's like you've gained what you've needed to gain through some kind of mental process. Maybe you've been on a mental health journey to understand your mental health, or to understand your nervous system, or to just understand what actually makes you happy in life. Whatever it is for you, it's like you've been through that. You've gained some kind of grit having gone through something, and something's releasing. It's like you've graduated, and these new moon seeds over the next year are bringing grace to your life, and fresh openings and possibility and reward at the end. You've reached some end, and these new moon seeds are the beginning. So that said, there still could, especially if you come to this right after the new moon, there's a few months that take place in incubation. You may still feel a little bit boxed in for a few months, but, come December, January, there's like a real huge kind of release, opening, fresh feeling. It's incubating no matter what. You feel it internally, but like externally, you'll start to see that in a few months. But yeah, moving from grit to grace, I like that. And reward at the end. So yeah, get it. Claim your rewards, claim the new beginning. You've accomplished and mastered some kind of chapter. Time to move to whole new kind of way of experiencing some aspect, some room of your life. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Happy Virgo full moon, or new moon, not full moon, Virgo new moon. If this resonated, I always appreciate support. Likes and shares are easy ways to do that. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And yeah, I hope to see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your Virgo new moon reading, where we're going to look at what the seeds or intentions you are kind of planting deep within yourself at this Virgo new moon, how these, what's the energy of these, and so what is a thread to watch over the next year of Virgo energy. So maybe something to watch every time every month the moon will pass Virgo, or anytime another planet or something like that moves through Virgo. So you guys got the offering, and I'm immediately feeling like like this is your hand, you're offering something. And it feels really beautiful and really fulfilling. Like there's something new. When I was first about to press record, I was getting this thing of maybe you are feeling really sacred about something and wanting to offer your gratitude. But it wasn't quite connecting. And then I was like, oh, it's like you suddenly know you have something to offer. And so there's this sense of fulfillment, like you've reached a certain wholeness in something, which is a very Virgo kind of term, coming to a personal sense of wholeness and feeling a sense of purpose. So offering that purpose of something useful, something of purpose to the world. It definitely is resonating like that. There's something you're feeling like you've come to a certain wholeness with, and you now really have a sense of and a connection to kind of confidence, but more like self-efficacy, where you have there is confidence and self-efficacy. Like, I've done the work. I know I have the skill. I've earned this. I know what I'm doing. And so I feel comfortable, and I feel of use. So a certain sense of fulfillment by being able to offer something that is helpful, that is thoughtful, that is from my own instincts, that I've honed and crafted and practiced and created skill around to give to the world, right? To offer to the world. this Virgo new moon really like infusing you over the next year, or whenever you come to this, through to the next Virgo season, this sense of like really knowing what it is you are able to be useful in, what your skills are, what your offering is in the world, and that feeling really sacred and purposeful. So a lot of fulfillment in these Virgo new moon seeds for you. And sort of this understanding of your place, right? What you're meant to be doing. Hence, like where to take your offerings, where to take your skills, what they're meant for. Being more intentional, like really knowing how to take what you have, take your offering to where it's actually needed and appreciated and valued, and and most of all, because we're talking about Virgo, where it's helpful, where it's useful. Temperance. Oh yeah, you've really cultivated some kind of ability. That's what this is. There's some ability that's like really clicking in this year for you. And there's so much reach and competence and grace. It's funny, the word grace immediately came out for me when I flipped this card over to start your reading, just before I pressed record. But I was like, I don't know what that's connected to. We'll see how it comes up. So yeah, this is bringing it up. It's because of the magnificence and reach and capability you've developed that's clicking in, that like you have this essence of like a grace in how you function in the world. Really beautiful. 10 of Cups. Wow, you are orchestrating things, composing things. You're able to hold complexity with ease. You're kind of becoming the center hub of a lot of activity that's very harmonious and has the potential to be very beautiful and composed. And like the 10s come with big energy, it comes with big boundaries, it comes with complexity and a little bit of chaos, but in the Cups, it's like how to hold the center of that with like a certain wisdom and a certain grace coming up again. I love how that, like, I repeated it like an echo, like it's just there, it's echoing through everything. Yeah, there's just a certain grace in how you're able to hold some gift that you've developed into a skill and a talent. And things are coming towards you. You're opening your boundaries to allow things to organize around you. It's like that, knowing that there's very little you have to do other than holding a certain center and quality, and things organize around that. When there's a peaceful center, complexity and chaos can really organize into something beautiful, something artistic, something comprehensive. And I feel you knowing how to do that this year. The Lovers. You've found your higher self. You've found how to come from your higher self and how to pull other people's higher selves out of them. And so how to bring more harmony even in, it's interesting because this 10 of Cups feels more like sort of group energy, but the Lovers feels more like interpersonal. And so it's like you're really knowing how to, and it's interesting in this 10 of Cups that there is this like partnering element going on, which a lot of 10 of Cups has more of a family So we have two partnering elements here. You may partner with something or someone, something or someone around your skills. Or it could just be that you're, like this recognition, feeling these exchanges come in because you're being recognized. Or whatever you're offering or whatever kind of skill is clicking in helps others see themselves. There's like a reflection to like helps others draw their higher self out of them. But minimally, it is like you've really tapped into your higher self, and that's either or both bringing in some partnering or really elevating how other people are functioning. Because of things you're able to draw out of them. And for some of you, there may just be like a really positive energy around love relationships for you this year. Really kind of soulmate sort of energy around you. And then the star. Oh my gosh, this is a gorgeous reading. I love this. Yeah, just a new sense of hope and belief in your future. So whatever's going on with your Virgo threads, you could really just pay attention to any time the moon goes through Virgo and like new sense of, how you're envisioning your future, your sense of hope and belief in the future, whether it's your own future or the future of humanity or the future in terms of like certain elements of progress and innovation happening or evolution happening. It's like really feeling hopeful about things and positive about this new wholeness that's clicking in too. And maybe that's also like just like a strong vision of what you're supposed to be doing with that even more broadly, how to scale this gift that you're really starting to see how it's supposed to be taken into the world and how well that's resonating and drawing things and people and love and high vibrations into your life, like how you're supposed to take that even further, right? So really gorgeous stuff here. Okay, let's get you an ending card. Healing from the Healing Waters Oracle. Just a beautiful sort of, because I felt very spiritual energies around this new moon, I just wanted to bring in a pointedly spiritual message. So the Healing Waters Oracle is what I chose for that. Atlantis, keep the big vision, stay in alignment as you grow. Yeah, I do think things are scaling, vision clicking in, things scaling, a lot of growth this year around a vision that is important to you, that feels, like this really sacred, purposeful, skillful offering. That's like your vision, and just stay true to that, stay connected to it in a sacred way, and that will keep you in alignment and help that growth come through. But I'm not worried about you guys. I think you've got it this year. So beautiful, gorgeous reading. I hope this resonated. If so, I always appreciate support with likes, shares, and subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I wish you guys an amazing, beautiful Virgo new moon. And hope to see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your Virgo new moon reading. So we're kind of looking at the energy around seeds and intentions, kind of planting deep within you at this new moon. You may be coming to this at a different time, which is fine. Just pick up on your year's Virgo threads wherever they are. You could watch every time the moon moves through Virgo, anytime other planets move through Virgo, to really tap into the energy of what this yearly Virgo energy is going to unfold with, and yeah, bring into it. So Thanatos is your card, which relates to the energy of death. So my feeling is here, I didn't want to bring a lot of like really specific astrology in here, but I'm feeling a very specific thread. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are Capricorns or Pisces that come to this pile, maybe some Virgos, because I'm feeling this thread of the Saturn in Pisces opposition to this new moon, which is sitting right behind the North Node, where there are kind of these natural endings. So I feel this Thanatos energy, this metaphor of death, is a little bit more of a gentle thing, because the types of endings that happen behind the North Node are like where things have run their course naturally. So there's these natural passings. There's these passings where things have come of age. They have been through, sometimes there's things that end where like that was too soon, or I didn't expect that to end. And there's some endings, like people who pass away in their late 90s or around 100, or just they've really lived a full life, and so their passing feels natural, like it didn't come too early. Like that feels like an appropriate timing for things for their energy to move somewhere else, to move on, right? So that's just a metaphor. We're not talking about real death here. This is there are likely things in your life that are just naturally ready to progress, to move to a different stage. But in these seeds, there is this, over the course of the year, you may be dealing with kind of tying up loose ends, doing some healing work, doing some rejuvenation, really getting some epiphanies around what endings mean. Because there is this thing with Thanatos where when you are so close to the veil of another side of something, or having to let go of something, it's also the time, like the closest you are to an ending, the closer you are to understanding the power of life itself. And so there is this like intensity coming through of like, even though there's something over this Virgo year that is wrapping up, that is dissolving, you're also really understanding vitality at the same time, and life in big, beautiful, powerful epiphany style ways. So I do feel like it's a year of rejuvenation around Virgo energy, a year of epiphanies, a year of working to let go, restore, and understand the power and intensity of life. Power and intensity of life. Yeah, very interesting. So very spiritual energy. Like this card could show up and it could be just like intensity and dealing with psyche and dealing with like a lot of scorpionic types of things. If you are familiar with astrology, you would know what that means, but like intenseness and death and transformation. But this, because of how I'm feeling this is coming up, what it's associated with, it's a little bit more gentle, and it feels like these big spiritual type of epiphanies and intensity that's more ethereal in nature, more more a mystical intensity here. But some natural endings and a lot of healing. Okay, let's do some tarot. Four of Swords. Yes, however Virgo energy rules in your chart. So if you have your astrology chart, you can see which section of life Virgo rules for you. There's going to be space for you to rest, to restore, to meditate, to contemplate. You're going to be given a lot of space when it comes to Virgo energy in your next year. Decompression, meditation, contemplation, finding a certain peace and ease. Queen of Swords. And coming back to like when you're really close to endings is when you feel the importance of life, of life force, vitality, energy. Is like this is the thing that's incubating over, like it's like you have a whole year of regeneration work and incubating this Queen of Swords energy, which is this energy of really knowing how to nourish conditions that foster inspiration, that foster bold and assertive, creative force and vitality in the world. Being able to use inspiration in this very energetic, impassioned, emboldened way. It's like you're incubating the quality that knows how to nourish and nurture this. So it's like in maybe like the next Virgo season for you, you're going to have like the exact right conditions to really be reborn with this really bright, creative, inspired life force coming out of you. And I think part of like this letting go of old things and a lot of contemplation and meditation is like, part of that is even getting back in touch with what your inspired self even is now. Like, what does that even mean to you? What does inspire you anymore? I think that's shifting. Oh yeah, this archetype in you, that's what's shifting. Something's ending and beginning around that Queen of Swords archetype. You could, if you want to take that archetype further, I tend to relate the goddess. Sure, there's probably a lot of goddesses that relate to this, but for me personally, I always, oh my gosh, why am I suddenly blanking right when I want to talk about this goddess? Let me pick up my goddess deck, and I'm gonna kick myself when I find the goddess because I work with her all the time and suddenly it's like my brain just went blank, which totally goes along with like there's maybe something you're needing to let go of around that archetype of like how you're inspired, what is inspiration to you, so that can be reborn in a different, like a different version of that is coming out in you. Where is Bridget? It's a Celtic goddess. Her name's Bridget, and she's a goddess of like inspiration and poetry, but also metalsmithing, which, because there's this association of fire in her head, and so there's this fire association, and that's where I take that. Sure, she could be metalsmithing, but I take that fire quality as inspiration. And so this quality of like, what is your light source? What source do you plug into to reconnect to your passion, to your vitality? And what is the inspiration that brings you healing and motivation and energy? There's something this year with these Virgo seeds where it's like that's something, you're letting go of some way of being around this to incubate a new sense of this in yourself. Like something's rewiring about your passion and how you gain inspiration. 8 of Swords in reverse. Interesting. Yeah, it's a lot of healing and letting go work this year around limiting yourself, keeping yourself in small stories, keeping yourself in cages, in thinking you're more limited than you really are. Breaking out of a limitation in what you see for yourself. And then the Tower. Interesting. So I know that we talked earlier about there's like some gentle letting go, but at some point there's going to be more of a breakthrough. I would imagine that this is, maybe 6 months from this point when you see this, at least, or 6 months from the Virgo new moon. So you may come here at a different time. So the 6-month point from the Virgo new moon would be in Pisces season. So sometime in February, and after even, but my sense is like minimum February, if not later. There are going to be some things that just instantly leave your life. It's like you're doing a lot of gentle work about this. That's kind of what it feels like. It's like that gentle, meditative, contemplative sort of letting things go, trying to find peace with things that are naturally ending. It's that work that you're doing is kind of like, when you are cutting up a peach or an avocado and there's the stone you have to get out of the center. And it's sort of like especially like with a peach, an avocado is a little bit more tough, at least in the way I do it. Maybe there's easier ways, but like with a peach, I'll make a whole slice around it, and then it's easy to twist one half of it off, and then the stone in the center you can kind of grab onto because it's got some texture and sort of loosen it out. I sort of feel like this year at this Virgo new moon, you're already kind of like sliced open. One side of you has released from this stone inside, which is like where you've limited yourself. And you're kind of doing the work of trying to loosen that stone from the other half of you, a half that's still kind of holding on to certain things or not seeing past certain limitations, kind of stuck in old ways of thinking and feeling and seeing. But it's like you're working on it, right? You're trying to loosen that stone. And at some point, whether it's near the Virgo full moon or a little bit after that, so February or later, this Tower card comes in. And it's like something happens where you've been sort of gently kind of taking the stone out, but not really trying to actually pull it. And it's like something happens where it just immediately suddenly comes out like unexpectedly. Like, oh, I wasn't trying that hard, but it just suddenly pops out. And so it's like that change you've kind of been working towards, but very gently, suddenly just like snaps in, and now it becomes serious. And it's like, okay, that was the end. There's no more, like the healing journey has come to an end. It's time, like it's done. Something's done. Something's hit, its ending point. And it may at that point feel like something's kind of like falling apart in your life, but you're ready for it. You're prepared. You've been contemplating this already, right? It just kind of comes more suddenly than you'll expect. And so usually when the Tower card comes, it's sort of like, in hindsight, of course, that was going to come, but in the moment, it can feel a little jarring. But after you get over the kind of shock of the moment, of this sudden thing, you're in the midst of some rubble, right? There's some chaos. It's like a tower being struck by lightning is the association, and it kind of shatters apart. But at the same time, or, you know, like in a modern metaphor, it could be like taking a wrecking ball to a building and it, you know, knocking down the building. It looks like rubble, it looks like chaos, but suddenly you have new possibility, new sense of order that has room to come in. And I feel like that's around your Queen of Swords archetype, or, you know, like looking into the goddess Bridget, like how you connect to inspiration, how you connect to source, and how you use that and assertively take your passion into the world is ready for an upheaval and some new order to come in. And so this year around Virgo energy, I don't know why Virgo energy is entangled in this, other than like because of like where the importance of the the aspect, the connection to Saturn is with this, and where Saturn is. I mean, that is why, but I'm trying to think about Virgo energy itself and like what is entangled here. It would depend on where Virgo is in your chart. So if you know astrology, you could look at which category of life Virgo rules, and this may pertain to that category of life where something's it's run its course, and new order at that midpoint around Pisces season will be ready to come in, but something jarring may happen even though you've sort of been preparing for it. But what I would say is that by your next Virgo new moon, the next time we have a Virgo new moon, so next Virgo season, there will be a completely cleared slate. You will be plugged into much more fresh, vital energy and ready to build anew, ready to have like completely different outlook, completely different goals. This year you will have completed a very, because of the energy I'm feeling, this feels like a very long-term kind of cycle that you're ending out this year. And so whatever that long-term cycle's been about, that will no longer be present. Some long-term thing will no longer be present to deal with. It will no longer be in your line of sight. It will be off of your shoulders, out of your life at the next Virgo new moon. And totally fresh order, completely like you can't, there's no way to envision what that's going to look like. From when you see this reading, there's no way to envision. It's like a totally different world starting to unfold at the next Virgo new moon. And there's no way to envision what that's going to look like, but it's going to look very, very different from some kind of long-term cycle that you've been in. So, important work this year. Take advantage of some space and healing at least into February. You may have a little longer than that, but at least into February, there's going to be a lot of space for healing and rejuvenation and finding a renewed sense of balance and peace in order for you to kind of let go of some things. But yeah, there could be a little bit of chaos and upheaval after that. But then, come the next Virgo new moon, it's just like really, really fresh energy coming in around this archetype of like being able to nurture and nourish your creative spark, your inspiration, and connected to, what you want to do with that in the world, what that means, how you direct it, that kind of stuff. Okay, so to end, we are going to get a healing message. Because I felt really spiritual energy around this new moon, I wanted to bring in a deck that had very spiritual energy just for a message to end with. And so I picked the Healing Waters Oracle. So you guys got Deep Sea Diving, Way of the Mystic, Learn through experiencing, and Depths, as in DEPTHS. So not deaths, which you already kind of have, but depths. Yeah, so going deep this year for sure. I mean, that contemplation really matches here. So that may be overlaid the whole year around your Virgo energy, just a lot of contemplation and deep diving, really getting connected to your depths, your soul, going deep into things. Yeah, really cool. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. If this reading resonated, I always appreciate support. So likes and shares and subscribes are great ways to do that. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I hope to see you guys in future readings.